Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to explore exactly how scientists organize the overwhelming, beautiful chaos of the living world. We're going to look at the systems, the history, and the incredibly elegant framework that biologists use to make sense of every single living thing on this planet. It's like a massive, global puzzle, and seeing how it all fits together is truly fascinating.
First up, let's just take a second to appreciate the sheer scale of the living world around us.
When you really stop and look at the complexity of something like a galloping seahorse, or the terrifying efficiency of an attacking shark, it naturally evokes this deep sense of awe. Early humans felt this exact same fear and reverence, right? But they didn't quite know how to organize it all.
And you know, that wonder quickly turns into a pretty staggering data point when we try to study it scientifically. Right now, there are between 1.7 to 1.8 million known and described species on our planet. Let that sink in. Almost 2 million. That number represents what we call biodiversity. And the crazy thing is, it's constantly growing as we explore new areas and revisit old ones.
Now, what's really interesting about this sheer volume of life is the massive problem it creates for communication. How do we even talk about all these creatures without getting confused?
Because if we just rely on local names, we get total chaos. I mean, a plant known by one name in your town might mean something entirely different just one country over. You literally wouldn't even know if you were talking about the same organism. Science desperately needed a universal standard. One name for one organism, recognized everywhere by everyone.
And that brings us to our universal biological language, the incredibly clever system of binomial nomenclature.
So Carlos Linnaeus actually solved this huge problem with binomial nomenclature. It's basically a strict two-part naming system. First, you've got the genus name, and that's followed by the specific epithet. And they're always derived from Latin. Now, why Latin? Well, because it's a dead language. It never changes, which makes it this perfect, unchanging anchor. You always capitalize the genus, keep the specific epithet lowercase, and either italicize or underline the whole thing. So, for example, a mango is always Mangifera indica everywhere on Earth. And you'll often see the author's abbreviated name at the very end, like Lin for Linnaeus, just to show exactly who first described it.
To really appreciate this system, we need to look at the brilliant minds, the true pioneers, who refined our understanding of how to classify life. We absolutely have to talk about Ernst Mayr. Over a nearly 80-year career at Harvard, yes, an 80-year career, he almost single-handedly made the origin of species diversity the central question of evolutionary biology that it is today. He gave taxonomists the exact framework they needed by pioneering the currently accepted definition of what a biological species actually is. Mayr was such a rock star in his field that he earned this incredible title, the Darwin of the 20th century. No big deal, right? He was also awarded the Balzan International and Crawford Prizes. In the science world, that's widely regarded as the triple crown of biology. Think of it kind of like achieving an EGOT in entertainment, but, for rigorously categorizing life.
All right, let's get into the mechanics of this. Let's start climbing the taxonomic ladder, making our way from the ground floor all the way up to the top.
At the base, think of a species as the ultimate, exclusive club. It represents a group of individual organisms with fundamental, distinct similarities. For instance, a lion is Panthera leo. That specific epithet, leo, means it is uniquely, undeniably a lion.
But of course, lions don't exist in a vacuum. Stepping up a rung, closely related species group together into a genus. So the lion, the leopard, and the tiger, while entirely distinct species, are closely related enough to all share the genus Panthera.
Now, let's broaden the lens to the family rank. Here, the number of similarities drops just a bit. This is where the mighty Panthera, big cats, are actually forced to share a family tree with your everyday domestic house cat. They all belong to the family Felidae. And yes, in case you were wondering, dogs have their own rival family called Canidae. Moving up, when we assemble families together based on a few shared characters, we get an order. So even though cats and dogs are in different rival families, they are both meat eaters, which unites them under the single higher order of carnivora. Next up is class. Take that order of meat-eating carnivores and place them right next to primates, like monkeys, gorillas, and gibbons. What do they possibly have in common? Well, they all belong to the broader class known as Mammalia. Go even broader, and classes merge into a phylum for animals or what we call a division for plants. This is based on major, fundamental common features.
So mammals, birds, and reptiles might look completely different on the outside, but because they all share a basic neural system, like a notochord, they're all bundled together into the phylum Chordata. Finally, at the absolute top of the ladder, we hit the kingdom. This is the highest, broadest category in taxonomy. Every single animal we just talked about, from the tiny house cat to a soaring eagle, is packed into kingdom Animalia. And as you climb this ladder, the specific similarities shrink, but the sheer organizational elegance really grows.
So, let's bring it all together and see how this grand structure looks in practice. Look at how beautifully this logic scales. You, a human, are Homo sapiens. You have a very precise address on this ladder. But so does a housefly, a mango, and the wheat in your bread. No matter how wildly different these life forms appear to us, they can all be mapped out using this exact same, incredibly elegant biological logic.
Because here's the thing, taxonomy isn't just about cataloging the past. It's a living, breathing science. With roughly 1.8 million species already systematically slotted into this beautiful biological hierarchy, it really makes you wonder, what incredibly strange, beautifully complex, undiscovered species is out there right now, just waiting for its binomial name and its rightful place on the tree of life?